Brothers and sisters, I plead with you, listen carefully. We are living in the final moments of this age, and most people, even those who claim to follow Yeshua, have no idea what is happening. Yahweh has declared the end from the beginning. He has given us prophecy, patterns, and a perfect 7,000-year plan. He has shown us through his appointed times, through his Sabbaths, through his Jubilees, exactly when key events would take place. And yet, what do people say? No one knows the day or the hour. They quote that one verse that is present tense in the first century and ignore everything else Yahweh has revealed about those that will actually be living in those times. They do not realize that Yeshua rebuked the Pharisees for not discerning the times, Matthew 16:3. They do not realize that Paul told us that for true believers in the end times, the Messiah would not come as a thief, as we are not in darkness. 1 Thessalonians 5:4. Most importantly, they do not realize that the Messiah said about those approaching his return. Remember then what you received and heard, keep it and repent. If you will not wake up, I will come like a thief, and you will not know at what hour I will come against you. Revelation 3:3. Are you awake? Do you not yet know the coming hour of the Messiah? Some people dismiss prophecy. They say, oh, these things happen by chance. But let me tell you the truth. The numbers prove them wrong. The prophetic timeline presented by the Messiah 2030 Project consists of 52 distinct prophecies and patterns that all align to point to one conclusion: that Messiah's death and resurrection was in 30 CE, and the second coming will be in the year 2030. Now, what are the chances that all 52 of these prophecies and patterns could align by accident? If we use the most conservative statistical models possible, the probability of this happening by coincidence is 1 in 4 quadrillion. That's 1 in 4 quadrillion. Do you hear that? That is not a reasonable number. That is not a probability we can ignore. But listen, if we use more realistic numbers, if we take just 52 independent prophecies and assume each one had a modest 5% chance of randomly matching this timeline, the combined probability would be 1 in 10 to the power of 60. Do you know how impossible that is? That is a number so large, we do not even have words for it. It is a number beyond all human comprehension. To put this in perspective, scientists estimate that there are roughly 10 to the power of 50 grains of sand on Earth, covering all beaches and deserts. The probability of all 52 prophecies randomly aligning is far less likely than picking a specific grain of sand out of all the grains of sand on Earth and getting it right on the first try. Let me say that again. If I told you to pick a single grain of sand from all the grains of sand on Earth, your odds of getting it right would be greater than these 52 prophecies aligning by chance. This is not coincidence. This is not chance. This is divine. Has Yahweh revealed his timeline? Has he spoken? And if we ignore it, are we doing so at our own peril? From the beginning, Yahweh revealed his plan. 6 days of work, 1 day of rest, a 7,000-year timeline, 4,000 years from Adam. Messiah came right on time, down to the day and even hour, using 52 prophecies and patterns. He was our Passover lamb, fulfilling the appointed times to the exact predictable time. And now, 2,000 years later, we stand at the dawn of the 7th day. And what happens next? The millennial reign of Messiah, the Sabbath of Yahweh, and the math, the prophecy, the patterns, they all confirm that it begins in 2030. Yet people continue to scoff. They say no one knows. Well, no one knew the exact day Noah's flood would start until 7 days before, when Yahweh told him, Genesis 7:4. And let me tell you, as we approach these final years, those who are watching will know. Those who fear Yahweh, who walk in obedience, will not be surprised. Yeshua's first coming was not a random event. It was not an approximation. It was fulfilled to the exact year, day, and hour. The prophesied 80th Jubilee in 30 CE marked the year of his death and resurrection, the very year Yeshua became our Passover lamb, the very year he fulfilled the appointed times. And if his first coming was on a precise timeline, why do you think his second coming will be any different? Let me say that again. If his first coming was on a precise timeline, why do you think his second coming, that consists of the same prophecies and patterns that determine the exact timing of his first coming, will be any different? Brothers and sisters, he is returning soon, and it is real just as much as the math is real. If the millennial reign begins in 2030, and we know from prophecy that the final 3.5 years are the great tribulation, then that means we are looking at spring 2027 for the beginning of the final tribulation period. That means right now we are standing at the very edge of the storm. And yet people are asleep. They are living as if nothing is happening. They are planning their careers, their retirements, their vacations, as if the world will continue as it always has. Just like in the days of Noah. They were eating, drinking, marrying, buying, selling, until the flood came and destroyed them all. And so I ask you, are you ready? Are you prepared for what is coming? Because if you are not walking in obedience, if you are not in covenant with Yahweh, if you are not pursuing holiness, then you will not endure. I do not say this to scare you. I say this because I love you, because I want you to wake up. The time for playing games is over. The time for compromise is over. The time for lukewarm faith is over. Messiah is coming. The tribulation is at the door. You have two choices. Repent, turn from your sin, walk in obedience, fear Yahweh, and keep his commandments, or be swept away. Do not think that because you keep Torah outwardly you are safe. Many will say on that day, Lord, Lord, did we not prophesy in your name and cast out demons in your name and do many mighty works in your name? And he will say to them, I never knew you. Depart from me, you workers of lawlessness. Matthew 7:21. It is not just about keeping the commandments. It is about knowing him, walking with him, fearing him, loving him with all your heart and all of your mind. So I ask you, are you walking in holiness? Are you fleeing from sin? Are you seeking Yahweh with all your heart? If not, then fall on your face before him now. Cry out for mercy. Repent while there is still time, because the storm is coming. And when it arrives, it will be too late. Brothers and sisters, the timeline is real. The math is undeniable. The prophecies have spoken. Yahweh's word is true. Messiah is coming in 2030. The tribulation begins soon. The question is, where will you be when that day comes? Will you be found faithful? Or will you be among those who ignored the warnings? Choose this day whom you will serve. May Yahweh bless you and keep you.